So, psychology has been derived from two Greek words, as you can see, psyche and logos. So, psyche simply means soul, and logos means science or study. So, if we combine it together, it is the study or the science of the soul. And with time, the Greek words from which psychology was derived, it has been transformed to more of a scientific term, which came from soul to mind to the brain. So now psychology is known as a science which studies mental processes, experiences, and behavior in different contexts. If you focus here, mental processes, experiences, and behavior are the three aspects in which psychology works. So, we are going to focus majorly on the three terms: mental processes, experiences, and behavior in different contexts. Now, we will focus on the three terms: mental processes, experiences, and behavior. Now, mental processes are also known as cognitive processes. So, whenever we talk about mental processes, the term can be interchangeably used with cognitive processes. It is to try to understand how the mind works. The cognitive processes includes thinking, problem solving, rational thinking, creative thinking. Anything that goes inside your brain is a part of mental process or cognitive process. Second is experiences. Experiences are subjective in nature, and every person experiences something different. It differs from person to person. And it is embedded in our awareness or consciousness, which means that our awareness or our consciousness is created by the experiences. It is different from person to person, and it is subjective. So whenever somebody asks you what is different from person to person, which simply means subjective in nature, and our awareness and consciousness is embedded in our experiences. Third point is behavior. They are the responses or reactions we make or activities we engage in. Behavior is something that is the responses or reactions of our body or our mind, which is in turn connected with mental processes or cognitive processes and experiences. Behavior now can be of two types: one is covert, and second is overt. Covert behavior, which simply means cannot be observed. C for covert, which means cannot be observed, and overt means observable. For example, covert behavior includes racing heart, as in your heart is beating, your blood is flowing, or the food is getting digested. And observable behavior can be something like twitching your leg or shaking your leg, palpitations in form of sweat, or any behavior that is observable. Now, we will understand psychology in three types, that is, in three aspects: one, psychology as a discipline, psychology as a natural science, and psychology as a social science. If we consider psychology as a discipline in itself, the first psychology laboratory was established in 1879 in Germany, Leipzig, by Wilhelm Wundt. Just so you know, Wilhelm Wundt is also known as the father of psychology. Many of you might think that the father of psychology is Sigmund Freud. Well, no, it's Wilhelm Wundt, because he was the first psychologist who established the psychology lab in Germany. So, the discipline of psychology in itself understands the human behavior, experiences, and mental processes, as we discussed earlier. B. Psychology as a natural science. It tends to understand psychology from a biological and technological perspective. Neuroscientists and computer scientists often borrow help from psychologists. So, when we say, for example, are training artificial intelligence, that is when the role of psychologists are used, or they are used in developing artificial intelligence, or to replicate the technology in form of what human mind in how human mind works. As we said, biological and technological perspectives, it's not just to understand the neurology of the human mind or the human brain, but also use it as a replication to creating new technologies. Psychologists use hypothetical deductive model, which simply means that a huge problem is deducted or reduced to something which is simpler to understand. So psychologists, when any situation that is presented to them, they would deduct it, or hypothetical, they would use hypothetical deductive model, which means hypothesis would be used to reduce them to a simpler form, or deduct something from them to understand it in a simpler manner. Descartes was the first philosopher who influenced psychology. Example as for explaining Big Bang theory was much needed. Now we will understand psychology as a social science. Psychology as a social science studies the behavior of human beings in socio-cultural context. The socio-cultural context is broken down into social context and cultural context. Social context is the place that we live in, and cultural context means the culture that we live in. So humans are created by their socio-cultural context or their environment, which means that we are born and brought up in a society which has a specific culture. If we consider the American or the Western culture, it's more of individualistic in nature, whereas if we consider Eastern culture, is more, it's more of group culture, where we are living together, and it is more focused on a social context. So psychology as a social science focuses on humans and communities as social beings in relation to their cultural, socio-cultural, and physical environment. The kind of physical environment that we live in, the relationships that we share with other humans, be it our father, be it our mother, be it our friends, or any other, let's just even say political scenario. Once we further dive into psychology, we will also understand how there are different layers to a social culture or a socio-cultural context that we live in. However, right now it is important to understand that psychology cannot be eliminated from the social sciences.